this isn't happening, right? Like, Toronto's not doing this, right?
They gonna fucking blow it? Welcome to the Checking From Behind podcast. Today is April 30th, 2025. I'm your host, Zach, as always, joined by my co-host, Preston. Preston wasn't able to make it on our last episode. However, though, he is here, and we have a lot to talk about. The playoff series that happened last night. We had 4 games to talk about, to go over, and we have some finalists that have been revealed for certain awards, as well as the Canucks drama that keeps on chugging.
I'm sick of talking about this team. I feel like this is probably the team, non-playoff team, we've talked about the most this season by far. And none of it's been for good reasons. It's just drama. So for those of you that missed it, Jim Rutherford had another amazing press conference talking about the news that Rick Tocchet will not be returning to the Canucks. He had an option to return for a 4th year. He declined that option, so the Canucks currently do not have a coach. But the thing that caught a lot of people's attention today was Rutherford was talking about. A reporter asked him if he talked to Quinn Hughes about his thoughts on all of this and everything. And Jim Rutherford said he tried calling Hughes, and he said he hopes he's golfing because he normally calls him back right away. And he called him last night, and he still hasn't gotten a call back. Dude, I appreciate the honesty, but sometimes you gotta shut the fuck up.
He needs to stop making everything fucking public, too. And stop having these press conferences,
Yes.
too.
You're the president of hockey operations. We don't need to see you every other week.
You're supposed to be media trained, too.
I mean, he's been around for a long time. He was the GM of some really good teams. He's won Stanley Cups. He knows what he's doing. He just needs to shut up.
It feels like at this point he just wants himself and the team to stay relevant at the moment. And Quinn, it's just a matter of time before Quinn, he's just like, fuck this shit, and ask for a trade. Brock Besser's leaving. Patterson has declined.
I still
over the
think it
last year.
takes a lot to move Quinn Hughes.
For sure.
I don't think he gets moved this summer. We were joking earlier, like, okay, when is he getting traded to New Jersey?
Yeah.
Because I think, does he have trade protection?
I'm literally looking it up right now.
Because if he does have trade protection, I think there's literally only one team he'd waiver for.
And that is
The
New Jersey.
Devils. He wants to play with his brothers, as Jim Rutherford said last week.
Quinn Hughes, he does not have he currently, during this NHL season, he doesn't have a no trade clause or any type of clause. I'm looking to see if he has one coming up. He does not have a clause in the rest of this current deal. So he's a free agent. He's a UFA after the 26-27 season, so 2 more years left on his deal, 7.85. I don't think he's going to get traded. However, I think he does walk in free agency and sticks out the last 2 years. Because if he goes out and asks for a trade, A, Quinn Hughes has no say in where he goes.
Yeah.
And B, the Canucks can just hold on to him until they feel like they're getting enough value, whereas, you could do right by your captain if you really wanted to, but the Canucks have so much control, and it's the same thing with Pettersson, where Pettersson doesn't have a clause now until July 1st. So I think it's more likely, clearly, that they move on from Pettersson, but I think it's highly unlikely they trade Pettersson before July 1st, and I think it's highly unlikely they trade Hughes at all.
They're not. They're not. I don't think they're trading either anytime soon. If you trade one of them, especially Hughes, that's you signaling you're going into a full rebuild.
Personally, if you trade one, you have to trade the other.
Yeah, no, because I feel like if Quinn Hughes sees Pettersson gets traded and he sees like, okay, he's by far the best player on the team now. Like, what are we doing? We're not going to be winning anytime soon. Get me out of here. I kind of see this as a similar. I'm not to compare the players like skill wise, but kind of like the situation Seth Jones had with the Blue Jackets when he requested out, where he didn't see they were going to be winning anytime soon. He knew the team wanted to initiate a rebuild, and with a year left in his contract, he was like, guys, I'm not going to resign. And, we don't want this to get ugly, so if you could move me, I'd appreciate that.
That could be a thing where Quinn Hughes, after, let's say they have another down season, right? They keep trending in the wrong direction. Next summer, Quinn's like, listen, I have 1 year left on my deal. I'm going to be a UFA. I don't plan on re-signing. If you guys want to trade me, go for it. Or if not, I'm just going to walk in the summer anyways. So.
Which, I mean, the Canucks, they would still, even if he was a rental, they would still get a fortune for him in a trade, because you're trading arguably the best defenseman in the league. Every team is going to give you a king's ransom for him.
It's been a wild 18 months for the Canucks. Last season, they won the Pacific Division.
They were in Game 7 against the Oilers in the second round of the playoffs.
And arguably would have beat them if they had Brock Besser for that Game 7, who missed, unfortunately. Because
and now they're like a clown show. It's kind of insane how much can change in a year.
Pettersson He's not your 100-point guy anymore. Besser's going to walk in free agency. Quinn Hughes is very unhappy. Rick Tocchet isn't returning. I thought they should have brought back Elias Lindholm, and they didn't
I
at
don't
all.
think they could afford to.
That's
I don't
fair.
think I don't think they were going to give him the contract Boston gave him.
I mean, they didn't want to anyways.
Yeah.
And didn't they have Zadorov too?
Yeah.
They didn't bring him back either.
I don't think any team was giving him the contract that Boston gave him.
No, Boston's like
Especially on a 5-year deal, yeah.
For what was it, $5.5 million or something
like that. Yeah, but yeah, no team was. I don't think any other team was going to give him that length.
Let's hop over to the finalists that were announced. We have the Vezina Trophy finalists first, as we all expected: Connor Hellebuyck, Andrei Vasilevsky, and Darcy Kemper.
Yeah, those three were really no-brainers for be the finalist.
I've seen some people say Logan Thompson, but I felt like Darcy Kemper, even though they were both hurt, I felt like given the edge to Darcy Kemper.
Well, Darcy Kemper's been incredible this year. We'll talk about more of him later, but yeah, no, I mean, I think Hellebuyck runs away with that award, though. I don't know if it will be unanimous, but I think he'll get the overwhelming majority of the first place votes.
Be like 85%.
There'll be a couple of Tampa writers that vote for Vasilevsky, maybe a couple LA writers that vote for Kemper, but I think Hellebuyck should win that award.
925 record-breaking. Well, not record-breaking, but it was close to an insane.
What do you have, like 6, 7 shutouts?
Yeah, I think he had 8.
Yeah.
He had 8 shutouts. He played over 60 games, led the league in wins. Mm-hmm. And I want to get to the Winnipeg St. Louis series a little bit because I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Vasilevsky, again, last season wasn't that great. If there was a comeback award, I think Vasilevsky would be finalist too.
He'd be a candidate for that for sure.
And then, of course, Darcy Kemper, 922 save percentage on an LA team.
He would be a candidate for comeback player of the year too because he was awful last year in Washington.
That is true. And now this year was the starting goaltender on an LA team that tied their franchise record in points with 105.
Yeah.
The Norris finalists were revealed. Of course, Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, and Zach Werenski, the three that we have all known were going to be the finalists.
This wasn't even really much of a race for the finalists. We knew months ago who the top 3 were going to be.
Like by Christmas, we're like, these are going to be the 3 no matter what. And it's, it's here.
Which I think they're the 3 best defensemen in the league, and it's by far. I think Makar and Hughes are in their own tier. Werenski's like kind of below them, and then there's a couple other players just below Werenski, and then everybody else.
Yeah, I would have Makar and Hughes 1A, 1B, or whatever. Since I know me and you disagree on that stuff, but I don't blame you for putting Cale.
I mean, it's literally like flipping a coin. They're both incredible players.
It literally is. And then you have Zach Werenski, who's just a tier below them, and then after that, I would probably put Miro Heiskanen, Rasmus Dahlin.
I think Victor Hedman still belongs in that conversation.
Roman Josi.
He had a down year this year.
But he was so good.
Yeah,
and I think, hear me out. Fucking hear me out, guys. Jacob Slavin is a tier below, though.
I think that's a bit of a hot take.
So he's a 4th tier. I think Jacob Slavin, he's
more of a defensive guy, though. I think when you look at those guys, those are like all-around complete defensemen. Slavin is very underrated. I agree with you. But he's more of like breaking up plays. He can drive play a little bit. I think he's kind of a victim of the system that they play in Carolina.
Mm-hmm. He isn't asked like these other guys to go out in in the offensive zone, drive play a lot.
But I think he is an elite defenseman.
Yeah.
But those other guys, like I say, like are separate them a little bit because they're like every situation they're out there.
That's fair. I mean, I think it's a hot take, like you said, but I don't think it's
I don't think it's too hot of a take. Like he's great.
Yeah,
I think he is underrated. I think him playing in Carolina kind of puts him under the radar a bit. Like, I mean, he was amazing for Team USA in the Four Nations face-off. He's been really good for the Hurricanes in the playoffs. Like, he's an elite defenseman in the league, and he's paid like one. He's great.
I'm checking something before we move on to the Ted Lindsay finalists real quick. This isn't gonna be this. I don't want to get in an argument with it or everything. Jesus Christ, I can't talk. I mean, 90th overall percentile in defense is absurd.
Oh no, he's an elite shutdown defenseman.
Even like a 60 percentile overall in offense, and then like his goals above replacement and everything is in the positive. So I mean, yeah, he's an elite
defenseman, but I'd say he's like he leans to more of like a shutdown defenseman than like a two-way defenseman.
Would
I'd say his defensive play definitely outshines his offensive play.
Would you throw guys like I'm trying to think off the top of my head, Evan Bouchard above him?
Evan Bouchard's like a pure offensive defenseman.
He relies on his offense.
He's actually a liability sometimes in the defensive
as we
zone.
saw in games 1 and 2 in the playoffs.
He's great on the power play and when you have offense, but I wouldn't want him in there in like a shutdown defensive situation.
Adam Fox at all?
Fox, he had a down year, but everyone on the Rangers did. But he's great. He's an elite defenseman. He's a good two-way defenseman.
I would throw Adam Fox and Slavin just based off of this year next to each other.
Yeah.
If we're talking about overall wise, you could throw Fox above him in a tier above him. But, it is what it is.
Yeah, just based off this year, they probably belong in more of the same tier, just based off of this year's stats.
Of course. The 10 Lindsay finalists were also revealed. Cale Makar, Nathan MacKinnon, and Nikita Kucherov.
That one's interesting because that's MVP voted on by the players, so no writers voting on that. And they usually tend to be a little bit different. I mean, I expect MacKinnon and Kucherov to be finalists for the Hart.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of guys you can throw into that third spot for the Hart finalist. That's going to be really interesting when those come out.
You could throw in Hellebuyck. You can throw in Draisaitl. You can throw in even a Jack Eichel.
There's like a handful of guys you could throw into that conversation. But I think Cale Makar being in there is a really interesting one for me.
That is. I mean, he is a top 2 defenseman in the league, like we said. Probably number 1 if you ask most people. I mean, I don't know. The Ted Lindsay and the Hart, like the players' ones and then the writers' ones, they're usually a little bit different. But MacKinnon and Kucherov easily in there. Personally, I thought if Draisaitl didn't miss that time,
I think he would have been a finalist. But I think what that says to me more about Makar is because I know we argue about this all the time with Hughes and Makar. The players view Makar as the best defenseman in the league.
Yeah, and they're the ones that play with him or against him, and they see his skill level, and then of course,
and that's not a slight on Quinn Hughes. He's also an incredible player.
It also probably has to do with the fact that the NHL now is more offensively driven on the blue line.
But he could play really good defense too.
I mean, not as good as Quinn.
They're both good at different things.
I know. I'm not gonna stir up an argument.
But they're both elite defensemen that can do everything. And there's no situation where you wouldn't feel uncomfortable with them being out there.
They're basically the same defensemen. They're the same player.
I mean, Makar's a little better.
Makar's skating is better. I think Makar is some of the best. So
Makar's going to win. Is probably a second Norris this year. Is it second or third?
I
know he's won a one.
I think second. I'll double check that for you.
He's won a Conn Smythe. He's won a Stanley Cup. Yeah, but I mean, I that is tougher for me to pick who wins for that one because it's the players voting, so you never know where they can lean.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really go wrong with Kucherov or MacKinnon because especially Kucherov, he's just been playing at such a high level. Like, he's been so consistent.
Cale only has one Norris. He has one Norris, one Conn Smythe, and they both happened in the 21-22 season.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Stanley Cup. So
I think another thing that sells Cale Makar, he has 30 goals this year.
Yeah. What was he? He was like, it's the 18th season by an NHL defenseman. And I think the list was like maybe 11 defensemen.
Yeah.
So a couple defensemen have done it both times, which is ridiculous to have 30 goals as a defenseman.
I mean, I'd argue that I don't know if this is a hot take. Cale Makar might be like this generation's Nick Lidstrom. Like, I think he's that good. I think he's better offensively than Nick Lidstrom. But I think Lidstrom was I think Nick Lidstrom doesn't get talked about enough as like the best defenseman in NHL history. He was so good. He never made any mistakes. He was always in the right place. He was just everything you wanted in a defenseman.
If we do a top list of like all-time NHL defensemen or whatever, like all-time NHL greats this summer in the offseason, I always forget about Nicholas Lindstrom because I remember we talked about it last summer too, and we didn't have Lindstrom. Nobody batted an eye though. That's the thing.
Because people forget about him. But
that's a good point.
Just you go look at his stats, and I think he won like 8 Norris trophies.
I'm gonna find them here, and I'm gonna list off his ridiculous stats.
No, Nick Lidstrom is like the definition of consistency. He was a captain of the Detroit Red Wings. So he won 2 or 3 Stanley Cups with the Red Wings. He was just a perfect defenseman.
You guys want to hear this? All right, so in his entire career, he has He has 1,564 games played. He has 1,142 points. 1,100 fucking points as a defenseman,
And he played till he was like 42 years old.
He did. His last season was an 11-12. He had 34 points in 70 games as he was how old? I don't know. He was born
I think he was in his
1970.
40s.
Yeah, he was 41, 42. Yeah. His accolades. Let's go through these real quick. He has 4 Stanley Cups with the Red Wings. He has 1 Conn Smythe. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Norris trophies.
So I was one
and
off.
You were one off. And he had a string of Norris trophies from 2000 to 2007 where he only had 2 seasons where he didn't win it.
Yeah, no, he's the definition of consistency. I think he's a top 5 defenseman of all time.
Yeah, I think he's top 3.
I think he's up there with like Bobby Orr.
Can I read off the rest of his insane stats?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sweet. So his other accolades: NHL All-Rookie Team. He was NHL first All-Star team in 98, 99, 2000, 01, 02, 03, 06, 07, 08, and 2011. He also was part of the Olympic team in 06, NHL second All-Star team in 09 and 2010. He also has about 10 All-Star appearances, and he retired in 2012.
Yeah. No,
Ridiculous.
Nick Lidstrom is, insane.
Quick time out before we get back to the episode, you beauties. As someone like myself who's into fitness and needs a little bit of an extra boost before a lift, or maybe I need just a little bit of energy before my next hockey game, and even when doing pod stuff to bring you guys the best content possible, W always has me covered. Whether you needed to stay awake at work or need a little bit of a jolt to get you through the day, W will always provide you that spark you need. There's no sugar, no crash, no artificial flavors or artificial dyes, just flavored caffeine. 150 milligrams of caffeine and 1 serving, which is equivalent to 2 cups of coffee. Make sure to head over to w.gg and use code CFB Pod for 10% off any order. I can't believe that. I'm so glad you brought that up because I forget about him.
Got off topic for a little bit, but why don't we get into the playoffs?
Yes, you literally read my mind right there. All right, kick it off.
We're going to start off with the one that everyone's probably been talking about for like the last 2 days, and that is the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Ottawa Senators. This isn't happening, right? Like, Toronto's not doing this, right?
They gonna fucking blow it?
I mean, I wouldn't say they got their ass kicked. They did score 2 empty net goals. Ottawa beat them 4-0. Mm-hmm. Really good game by Linus Ullmark.
He's played great these last 2 games. Even, I guess, the last 3 games. Games 1 and 2, he was shaky. But even like game 3 and their overtime loss, he was still better.
I mean, I don't even know what to say about the Maple Leafs anymore. Because if they blow this, man, I don't know what you could possibly do to fix it.
And you know what? And Berube said this in the press conference, and I literally found this out about half an hour before we started recording. When he was like, core for this, core for this, core for that, core. It's not just a fucking core 4. It's the entire team surrounding them.
Yeah.
Mitch Marner has 7 points in 5 games. Nylander has 6 points in 5 games. Matthews has 6 points in 5 games. John Tavares has 5 points in 5 games. These guys have showed up in this series, and it's not just him. And I'm going to give credit to the Ottawa Senators because the Maple Leafs had opportunity after opportunity to take the lead or tie the game last night. There was a chance specifically where Scott Lofton walked in on Linus Ullmark on a half breakaway. He was actually on a breakaway. And back-checking were 2 Ottawa Senators players. And Scott Lofton, filthy mitts on this breakaway. He had a wide-open cage. He had Ullmark beat, but the back-check at the last second got the puck wide instead of tapping it into the empty net to make it a 1-0 game or tie the game at 1. And it's those little things, too. And I get you can say that Matthews, Tavares, Nylander, and Marner have not showed up these last 2 games. Okay, but also look at the facts. Stolarz hasn't played great these last 2 games. He's held the Leafs in there at times. The power play, sure, it hasn't been great these last 2 games. But also, you need your other guys to step up because you have Marner, Nylander, Matthews, and Tavares who they have the bulk of the points, which they should have the bulk of the points. But you have Matthew Knies with 3, Morgan Riley with 3, and then you have everybody else with either 1 or 0 points on this team. So you need more production from your depth too. And I agree with Berube. You have to also rely on your depth a little bit to come through as well.
Oh, I agree, but my issue is this is probably the deepest team they've had since they've drafted Austin Matthews and assembled the core 4 that we love to talk about all the time. I don't even know how you fix this though. Like I'm not. I think Toronto is still going to win this series. I think they will win Game 6.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might be completely wrong, but I don't see. I can't picture them blowing it. It just my brain cannot handle it because I don't know how they can keep on doing this. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like they did get through the first round once against Tampa Bay in 2022, but
Then got killed against Panthers.
yeah, but I mean, at this point, like if you're like Matthews and Marner and guys that have been there for years, it's got to be in your head. Like I don't care how mentally strong you are, this and that. Like when you've done this over and over and over again, it has to eat at you. And they should be able to overcome it, but what is this, year 7 now for Matthews?
Since 2018. Well, with Matthews since 2016, but with the core four since 2018. So
Yeah, so this would but
7-8 years season. Sorry.
I mean, they came back from 3-1 down last year, lost in Game 7. That's still the biggest one to me. I still can't make sense of this. Is when they blew that 3-1 lead to Montreal.
That made zero sense.
Because that Montreal team wasn't good. I mean, that was like they were like the team of destiny that year, though. They rode that all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. So maybe the right team did win, but I think if the Leafs lose this series, Mitch Marner's done. He's not coming back. I think that's the shakeup. Is the core four has to be broken up.
The Leafs are 1-13 in their last 14 series clinching games. They have gotten so close so many times and have come up short so many times.
Well, you know who was a really big difference maker in the year they did make it to the second round is Ryan O'Reilly. And they wanted to bring him back, and he said, "I'm good. I don't want to play in Toronto. Too much pressure."
The pressure, the media, maybe it was a little bit of locker room stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know about the locker room stuff, but he definitely did cite like pressure. Like he was asked about it. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't feel comfortable playing there."
Yeah.
But he was a big difference maker for them. They really needed a player like him. Yeah, I still think Toronto pulls it off in 6, though. That was my original prediction. I'm sticking with that. But I mean, yeah, like you said, credit to the Ottawa Senators. They're battling really, really hard.
They are
right now. They have nothing to lose.
They don't. They're playing with house money, and you could tell in the first couple games, even like they just weren't settled in. Right? They were playing very tight, and they felt the pressure on them. And then going into Game 3, I bet you Claude Giroux was like, "Boys, listen, okay, all the pressures on the other end of the ice. That team, they can't get past the first round. They have the core four, and they're under the microscope of Toronto media. Guess what, guys? We're here. We haven't. This team hasn't made the playoffs since 2017. The majority of you guys have never been in the playoffs before. So let's go out there. Let's have fun." And Claude Giroux has been preaching to his guys, especially when they went down 3-0. It's like Claude Giroux is part of that Philly team in 2010 that came down 3-0 and beat Boston in 7 games. And eventually, they lost in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Also the Stanley Cup Final.
Oh, Stanley Cup Finals, excuse me. They beat Montreal in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
And Ottawa seems to be playing like they have the entire season. And honestly, even though they're down 3-2, they could have easily won the series 4-1 if it wasn't for a couple bounces.
I mean, Toronto, you can definitely tell the players feel the pressure in Toronto. Like,
yeah.
I don't know how you can escape it because, you're up 3-0, and even if, they did lose Game 4 in overtime, but they score that goal, and you just see the players' reaction on the bench. Like they're all like,
not this fucking shit again. Like that goal that Sanderson scored, it was like that Stolar should have saved that.
Yeah, probably.
Even though it was through traffic and he probably couldn't see it, but it's from the far left wing point. Sanderson just shoots it to get it on, and it goes in, and then the Leafs players are like, "There's no like." Are you?
I mean, I expected him to win Game 5, Toronto.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, okay. It's really hard to sweep a team because if you go up 3-0, they're going to give you everything they can handle. You can handle in Game 4 because nobody wants to get swept. It's very hard to sweep any professional sports team.
1,000%.
But man, Toronto, I don't even know what to say anymore. Like it's easy to make fun of them. We've made fun of them plenty in the past. It's easy, but like I don't even know where they would go from here if they lost.
This is a must-win game in Game 6. Toronto cannot let this go to 7 games.
I think if they go to 7, they lose. I think they'll just be mentally defeated.
Yeah, I'm with that. And they could outplay Ottawa however much they want in Game 7 if it does get to a Game 7. But mentally, they're just going to be second-guessing themselves. And,
I mean,
I don't think it's going to go to Game 7, though. I think Toronto will. I think Craig Berube has the message that he's going to send in that locker room.
Best advice I could probably give the players: stay the fuck off us in the internet. Don't just stay locked in. Don't turn your phone off. Like, don't answer the phone. Don't even call your mom. Don't even do that.
You want to know who?
Go home, pet your dog, play some video games, and then go to the rink.
Fuck your wife, like do anything.
No, don't talk to anybody except for the people on your team. You can pet your dog, and then pay someone to walk the dog. You go to the rink. That's it. That's all. You're talking to your teammates. That's it. Teammates and the dog.
This might be the best analogy of all
no
time,
TVs, nothing.
The analogy I'm going to give might be the best one of all time. So the Maple Leafs getting out of the first round is the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen beating Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, but they did it once.
That's true. Although I think Josh Allen knows that he can beat Patrick Mahomes.
Anyways, it's not a Josh Allen issue.
No, it's not. Anyways, but like I said, maybe this is a core for us a little bit, but also, I mean, like I've said, you need your depth to come up. And credit to Ottawa, they're giving them all they can handle. All right.
2-0 Washington.
2-0 Washington.
2-2 Florida and Tampa right now.
How about Carolina and New Jersey is our next series? Carolina eliminated the New Jersey Devils in 5 games like we both predicted.
That was a crazy game yesterday.
Did you have them in 5 or 4?
I think I had them in 6.
In 6. Wow. You gave the New Jersey Devils some...
I mean, let me look.
I don't know. That was a crazy game last night. I didn't watch much of the game. I was watching the Ottawa-Toronto series. But either way, though, the Hurricanes ended up winning the series 4-1. And the Canes have dominated this series. Even in Game 4, when New Jersey ended up getting the W, I felt like the Canes were the better team. Yeah. And it's unfortunate that Frederik Andersen went down with an injury. But Kochetkov has just done enough to get them into the second round. And
I mean, going down 3-0 in the first period is a big hole to get out of. He was not good to start that game.
No, and then guess what? The Kings came out, and they tied the game less than 10 minutes into the second period.
Which is crazy.
And then the Devils went up 4-3, and it's like, oh, no, they're not going to blow us. And then the Canes fucking tied it.
And then Aho with the game winner in double overtime.
Was this the second game that went into double overtime for this series? I think it was.
I think you are. I think you're right.
I think. What was it? Was it game 2 or it was either game 1 or game 2?
No, it was game 2.
Game 2.
Game 1, New Jersey got their ass kicked.
I forgot. They had like 45 shots or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Credit to the Devils though for fighting.
I mean, credit to Jacob Markstrom. He played his ass off. The Devils. I mean, they just got injury riddled to hell and back. You know, missing two of your better defensemen hurts. Missing Jack Hughes hurts. I thought Nico Hischier had a very good series. I thought he did a good job stepping up to the plate. Mm-hmm. But, you know, in situations like that, you know, you got to get more out of your depth. You got to get more out of your depth players. And they just got out physicaled by the Carolina. Like, Carolina is a very hard team to play against, and especially in the playoffs. They play a playoff style of hockey where they have a relentless forecheck. And, you know, New Jersey fought back in places, but, you know, Carolina just has 4 lines they can roll, 6 defensemen they can roll. They're not benching guys. And then they have a really good power play. Frederik Andersen was playing really well in net. Kochetkov did the best he could. He was good enough for them to win. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see if Andersen is out long term for the Canes. They do have a little bit of a break before the second round starts, which is good, but they might know their second round opponent tonight. So
I heard Frederik Andersen's just day-to-day, so hopefully he's back for the second round. And I believe the second round is going to start either Monday or Tuesday, depending on what happens the rest of this week.
Yeah, I believe the latest the first round can go is Sunday. So
correct.
We should, I could see them even starting on Sunday.
2 of those series are at 3-1, and
because if Washington wins today, they're playing Carolina. I can see that series starting on Sunday.
So, which means Sunday's Montreal Capitals Game 7 is going to be taken away.
Yeah.
You have Winnipeg and St. Louis, a potential Game 7, and then Tampa, Florida, which we'll get to that series in a second, but I don't think that's going 7 games. Frederik Andersen had a 159 goals against and a 936 save percentage before he got hurt. He was playing phenomenal, and this isn't a slight at the Devils, but the Devils just were outmatched by the Hurricanes. Yep. Even coming into the series, the second that Jack Hughes got hurt, their season was over. And I don't think having Jack Hughes in the series would have changed the series too much and too drastic.
I still think the Hurricanes would have won. I just think the Devils need to get a little bit harder to play against, and they'll have a chance to kind of reshape some of their depth. They do have a bunch of UFA forwards coming up, so they do have an opportunity to kind of retool that bottom six and get harder to play against. I mean, but Jack Hughes doesn't make a big difference.
Yeah, and then losing Luke Hughes and Brendan Dillon through game one. Game one was a fucking disaster for the Devils.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that game was awful for the Devil. Literally everything that could have gone wrong went wrong.
I know it's crazy, and I say this about the Kings. It feels like every single season. This team, if they play like how they did against the Devils, they can go on to the finals.
Yeah,
but it's only a putting it together for a full 7-game series against a team like a Washington or Florida or
Washington's gonna, if they end up playing Washington, which I believe they will. That's going to be a really interesting series because Washington's also another very physical team that has 4 lines of depth that play kind of similar kind of hockey as the Hurricanes.
For a second-round preview,
but they can score more than the Hurricanes. I think that's the difference.
I'm very intrigued to talk about that series if it does happen. As long as the Capitals hold on to this lead in Game 5 and the series lead as well. Let's get on to the Washington-Montreal series briefly.
Yeah.
The Capitals are up 3-1 coming into tonight. They're already up 2-0 as we stated. The Capitals they look like the better team. Montreal looks like a team that barely scraped into the playoffs. And they look better than Washington did last year against the President's Trophy winning New York Rangers. I mean, the Canadians, like we said, for the second half of the year, they look exciting too. Demidov had a great assist a couple games ago. Caulfield has been great. Suzuki has a game-winning goal. A game-tying goal. And you have Patrick Laine, who has been exciting as well. So and Lane Hudson, of course, had a beautiful pass to Cole Caulfield.
I saw an insane stat where, like, I was watching the Montreal-Washington game, just a little bit of it because I had some free time, and they were like highlighting how young the Canadians team is. Like, I think everyone on the power play 1 unit was under the age of 25.
That's ridiculous.
Nick Suzuki's the oldest player out there.
He's 24?
Yeah.
I can't believe it. It feels like he's been in the league for.
I mean, he's been playing since he's like 19. Yeah. So if he has been in the league for 6
since he was 18.
Yeah, he has been in the league for 6 years.
Yeah.
Cole Caulfield, Uri Slafkovsky, Lane Hudson, and Ivan Demidov. So they have a really good core going forward into the future. You know, the rookie of the year in Lane Hudson. Uri Slafkovsky just keeps getting better. Cole Caulfield is going to score 40 goals eventually.
They have a possible another Calder winner in Demidov, like you mentioned. This team is exciting. And for the Capitals, I'm so glad that Thompson did not miss a game after that cross-check to the face from Dylan Strome. Honestly, he was probably just shaken up. And, he exited the game and everything. And I go on Twitter and everything. I don't scroll on social media that much anymore. I'm mainly on social media to post content, and then I leave because, like, social media is very toxic. But I scroll on Twitter sometimes with somebody who's starting to get into the NHL media space and everything. And a quoted tweet of not Tage Thompson, of Logan Thompson, like, practicing the next day or whatever during a morning skate, and a Habs fan is like, how come, he's skating after he was barely able to move? I was like, he was probably in shock. He got a cross-hook to the head. He could have just been taken up.
Homie, and people hear differently. Have you ever gotten the wind knocked out of you? For that 5 seconds, you think you're literally dying, and then 5 minutes later, you're fine.
Logan Thompson could have just been in the locker room, like, lilly-dallying after that.
He might have just tightened up or something, and they were like, you know what? You're not going to finish the game.
Yeah.
Like, you're tight right now. You're like, you might strain something. We're just going to hold you out. And then probably got the massage, woke up the next day, and you felt fine.
This is also why you extend a guy like Charlie Lindgren and come in and hold down the fort.
Oh, yeah. That's another big strength of the Capitals. Is they have a goalie they could rely on as a backup in case that something happens with Logan Thompson.
And Lindgren is a high-end backup, too. I wouldn't trust him to play 50 games a season. But, if Thompson went down long-term or for a few games instead of coming back, you can rely on Lindgren.
I honestly think that if, like, Logan Thompson was injured and was out for the rest of the playoffs, the Caps would be completely comfortable with Lindgren just running it for the rest of the playoffs.
The exact reason why they extended him. Plus, Protas is back from injury in Game 5, too, tonight, by the way.
Yeah, that's big. Big for their depth.
The Canadians have missed Montembeault big time.
He's been really, really good.
He has been. And he went out in Game 3. Yeah, it was Game 3, the same one as Thompson, except Montembeault hasn't returned. And, of course, with the Capitals up right now.
This is about what I expected from this series. Montreal did put up a fight. They did win Game 3.
Yeah.
But, they got nothing to lose. This is a team that was not even supposed to make the playoffs this year. They're just going to keep getting better. This is just really good experience for all the really young players to get a taste of playoff hockey. And, yeah, I think they're going to be a really good team for a really long time.
Tampa Bay versus Florida series. The Panthers are up 3-1 at the moment. And did you watch Game 4?
I haven't seen any of that series.
Well, Ekblad was suspended another 2 games for his hit on Hagel.
Was it a dirty hit?
It was. Elbow to the head. Hagel ended up getting suspended for Game 3 after his hit on on Barkov in Game 2, I believe it was. And then Hagel also missed tonight's game. And, so it's been a shit show for the Lightning. Hagel's been suspended. He's missing due to injury. Ekblad missed the first 2 games, came back for 1 game, is suspended. And the Lightning also blew a 2-1 lead in 11 seconds to lose Game 4 to fucking 2.
Yeah, I saw that. That was wild.
This series has been so unexpected, and everything that has gone wrong for the Lightning have gone wrong. And the games that Vasilevsky has played well, first off, Game 1, he was complete shit. Game 2, he was really good, but they couldn't score. Game 3, it was like, okay, they killed the Panthers 5-1. Maybe they can win a Game 3. Game 3 was a shit show for them. And now here we are.
It is 2-2
Sorry,
right
Game
now.
4. Oh, 2-2 score?
Yeah.
If there is... I'm sorry that I'm going to say this to you Cats fans. There's one team that can come back down from 3-1. It is the Tampa Bay Lightning.
I don't know.
Even though it's the Florida Panthers? Am I dick riding and glazing?
I think you are glazing
Lightning?
the Lightning right now. I mean, I think they're just getting outplayed. I think that
The Panthers do look like the better team.
I mean, you can't blow it. You can't blow a game in 11 seconds. It's just unacceptable.
I legitimately thought that series was going to be 2-2 going back to
It should have been
Florida. Tampa Bay.
It should have been.
It should have been. Fuck Tampa, dude. Dude, Tampa and fucking LA have busted my brackets. I'm going to get every pick right except those 2.
Yeah,
Fuck!
I had Tampa going pretty deep too, so.
Fuck! Whatever. All right, let's get on to the Edmonton-LA series in the Western Conference. The series, the stupid-ass Oilers, I'm just kidding. I probably shouldn't say that. I shouldn't be salty. The Oilers end up leading the Kings 3-2. They have won 3 straight games in the series, and ever since they gone down 0-2. And this is what happens when the team gets decent goaltending. The one thing
it's been more than goaltending.
I know. Bouchard offensively has been great. Defensively, still a little bit of liability. However, though, I do think I didn't expect Calvin Pickard to come in Game 3 and put up over 900 save percentage. And
well, the biggest thing I would say about this series is the Kings are desperately getting outcoached, and it's not even a fair fight, because LA dominated Game 1 and 2. Especially Game 1. Like, they looked. Edmonton did come back late, but they ended up putting it away.
That was literally Connor McDavid putting a team on his back.
Yeah, and Game 2, I mean, they probably should have won Game 3. Bad challenge, dumb play by Quentin Byfield trying to skate the puck out. Maybe cost them the game. Maybe cost them the series.
Should have just shot the puck down.
And I watched most of Edmonton, LA, because I was up late last night. I know, you look at the score is 3-1. It was not a 3-1 game.
It should have been like 6 or 7-1.
Darcy Kemper played out of his mind. I think Edmonton had almost 50 shots on net.
Mm-hmm.
They had more than double the shots of the Kings. Going into the third period, the shots were 33-11, and the score was 2-1. I think it was 1-1 still at that point.
I'm gonna check that. But after the first period, shots were 19-4 in favor of Edmonton. After the first period,
no, Edmonton dominated them yesterday.
That was the first game where Edmonton actually looked like the better team, in my opinion.
Well, I think they just made really good coaching adjustments. Mm-hmm. And then I think Jim Hiller for the Kings is making really dumb choices. I thought it was really stupid yesterday when he pulled the goalie with like 3.5 minutes left. I get it's a playoff game. You want to tie it up, but that's a long time to have an empty net.
If it's a 2-goal game, sure.
Yeah,
go for
2-goal game, yeah. But in a 1-goal game, I'm max 2 minutes.
Correct. I'm probably pushing a minute and a half.
Another thing, like after Edmonton went up 2-1 for the rest of the game, he kept throwing out the forward on defense to try to get more firepower out there. Didn't work.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean he's also benching guys left and right. I think it was game 5 where there was 2 defensemen that played like 4 minutes total the whole game. He was rolling 4 defensemen, pretty much 6 forwards, half of the game. Like they didn't from the halfway through the second on, like he benched like half of his team. You can't win like that in the playoffs. I know people argue, well, Edmonton has McDavid and Draisaitl out there every other shift. Yeah, they're different.
Those are the top 5 players in the league.
Top 3, arguably.
Okay, yeah, even there.
but they both been awesome this series, and it hasn't affected them. Another guy I think has been really two guys that I think have been really big difference makers for the Oilers since coming back because they were both not in game one. I think one of them actually missed the first couple games. Is John Klingberg and Evander Kane have both been excellent.
Yes. Did Evander? I saw Evander Kane got hurt last night. Did he come back?
I believe he finished the game.
Okay,
It was a dirty play. He got shoved into the net.
Just because I watch the highlights every morning at work, and I saw they showed like a part where he was hurt and everything. So
I believe he finished the game. There was a dirty play. It should have been a penalty where like LA was coming in on a rush and Kane was back checking and Brant Clark just shoved him, cross checked him right into the net at full speed. It was a dirty play.
So going back to your shot stuff, in the first period it was 19-4 in favor of Edmonton. Second it was 14-8 in favor of Edmonton, and in the third period 13-10 in favor of Edmonton. Shots ended at 46-22 in favor of Edmonton. Yeah, that's
no. Darcy Kemper was the only reason that game wasn't because he had some incredible saves. Because I watched most of the third period was played in LA zone.
Oh my God, there was a save on, I don't know what period it was because again just highlights, but there was a save on Bouchard. He was cutting towards Kemper's left, so our right on the back post, clear cut, wide open net, empty goal. Darcy Kemper got over and robbed him blind.
He had a couple of really good saves. I believe there was one where Nugent Hopkins had a really good play in front of the net. I want to say to Zach Hyman, he made another really incredible save. Darcy Kemper is the big reason why, if the Kings do force a Game 7, I think he's going to be the main reason why.
Call me crazy. And this series, it could have gone both ways because I don't like playing the what-ifs games, as you guys all know. But Game 1 might have foreshadowed a couple things at the third period in that game. And also, LA could easily have lost the series in 5 games.
That's how the first 3 games have all been. It was all LA to start, and then Edmonton figured it out in the third period.
And
it cost them 2 games, but they were able to come back in the third and win that game. Fourth, I'd say they mostly controlled that game. In the fifth, they completely dominated them.
They should have won Game 4. They blew blew with multiple goal lead, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and lost in overtime in front of your home. It was in Edmonton. Sorry.
Yeah, it was in Edmonton, but that's a chance to put a dagger in the series. Go up 3-1. Most of the time, you're not losing that.
Exactly. You
against a team that you've lost to 4 years in a row.
You get a confidence boost, even if you lose Game 5, like how you did. You're going back into Game 6 feeling good.
But I think this has just been Chris Knobloch out coaching Jim Hiller, and I think if LA loses a series, I think you have to strongly consider moving on from him.
Jim Hiller is acting desperate.
I don't think he has an answer.
No, he doesn't.
He has not changed their game plan since Game 1, and I think Edmonton figured it out. He's going to have to change it up for Game 6.
The LA Kings roster is good enough to get past Edmonton.
No, this is the best team they've had against Edmonton, and this is probably the worst team Edmonton's had against them since they started playing each other years ago.
Coaching is more important than hockey than what some people
especially
might
in a best-of-7 playoff series when you're playing the same team every game. That was a big thing in the Stanley Cup final last year. It was McDavid went on another level, but both teams made coaching adjustments. That's why Florida ended up winning Game 7 because Paul Maurice went back and made the adjustments. And the Panthers looked like a completely different team in Game 7 than they did in Game 4, 5, and 6 in the Stanley Cup final. And Chris Knobloch, both teams are really good. That was a really good series from a player standpoint and from a coaching perspective. That's why I got promise you if Edmonton figures out their depth problems and gets even an average goalie, they're going to win a Stanley Cup with Chris Knobloch and Connor McDavid.
Yes, and I know I've hated on the Oilers instead of the Kings, whatever, but that's a good point. Even their depth healthy is not that
Evander
bad.
Kane has been really big coming back for them.
Been.
He's added something they've been missing, this physicality and good forechecking.
I promise you guys, if Connor McDavid had a goaltender like Darcy Kemper, this team would be in the Stanley Cup Finals.
They would have won a cup by now. Yeah.
Correct. It's just annoying. Chris Knobloch, I think, came in and has done a really good job since he took over halfway through last season.
I mean, what he did last year, even getting them to the playoffs, was insane because that team was dead in the water when he took over the head coaching job.
Oh, man, dude. Edmonton is this close, man. And I think a lot of Oilers fans were overreacting after the first few games, but I think a lot of us...
I don't think they were overreacting. I think they looked... I was worried about them. They looked bad. And it looked like if Connor McDavid didn't play out of his mind, that they had no chance. And the biggest thing for me in Game 5 was the depth showed up.
It showed up and showed out. And
McDavid and Draisaitl did get a point on the empty net goal, but the two the two regular goals they scored with a goalie in the net were scored by their bottom six.
Yeah. So Edmonton, they're up 3-2. I don't know if they'll close it out in Game 6, but we'll see what happens in Game 6. What do they play, tomorrow night? Tomorrow night. So that's going to be a big game. LA needs to come out with a W or else they're eliminated for the fourth straight year against Edmonton.
That's bad, losing the same team 4 years in a row.
That's going to be rough. How about Vegas against Minnesota? They also played last night. Vegas is leading the Wild 3-2 in the series. Vegas had a scare in the first 3 games. Jack Eichel was non-existent. Jack Eichel showed up the last 2 games with 3 points in 2 games, all 3 assists. He has looked much improved. After the first 3 games, I thought him, Mark Stone, they didn't look good. I was like, maybe an injury's happening. An injury's clearly not happening. They just weren't on their A game. They got their shit together. And credit to the Wild, though, for hanging in here for 6 games.
So I watched the third period yesterday of Vegas and Minnesota. Vegas, that third period, I think Minnesota went almost 15 minutes straight without having a shot on net.
Jesus Christ.
They almost did steal the game. I don't know if you saw that goal that got waved off yesterday.
No.
So Vegas had probably had the puck in Minnesota zone. I'm not even joking, for maybe 10 straight minutes. Like, they were not letting up. And every time Minnesota got the puck out, they were just dumping and changing because all their guys were dead because they were in their zone for like 2 minutes. And then their defensemen were doing everything. They were blocking shots. Marc-Andre Fleury had to come into the third period cold because Philip Gustafson had to leave the game because he was sick.
I didn't know that,
and Fleury played well. Like, he did play very well for them. He looked like Marc-Andre Fleury. He was great for them. But, yeah, they went about 10 straight minutes, 10, 15 minutes without having a shot on net, without even really having any puck possession in the offensive zone. And then with a minute left on a kind of a bad change by Vegas, Ryan Hartman comes in and scores. And I'm just watching. It's like, there's no fucking way they're going to win this game. There's no way. So then they review it because it went off his legs. They were reviewing it for a kicking motion. It went off his shin, so they're like, good goal.
Yeah.
But then that gave Vegas enough time to look, and the play was offsides because Gus Nyquist didn't drag his foot at the blue line. It was offsides by like
I did see that.
Much. And I guess I was just sitting there. It was like, there's no way Minnesota deserves to win this game. Like, if they win this game, that's insane. And then Vegas did end up winning in overtime. And I heard I didn't stay up to watch the overtime, but I went back to LA and Edmonton, and when I switched back, the game was already over. But from what I heard, like, Vegas dominated in overtime too. Like, I think Vegas just figured it out, and they were like, okay, we're done playing with you guys. Like, can we just end this now?
That could be a thing, too, where maybe Vegas went into the series kind of underestimating the Wild, which is crazy to think about. A Stanley Cup champion, 2-time Western Conference Finals champions, and this team that has a depth so good went into a series is like, we'll get past you guys.
Well, that's
in 5
the biggest
games.
thing is Eichel showed up, and
Yeah.
he was dominating. He had a really good play where I believe Kaprizov was like sticking on him like glue, and he was driving the puck up to the blue line, and Kaprizov was following him. He was just shadowing him, like center on center. And Eichel was like above him, like towards the blue line. He stops on a dime, cuts off, has a lane straight to the net, straight access. He makes a really good pass to Mark Stone in front of the net. Fleury makes an incredible save. But Eichel looked amazing. He had an amazing game last night.
It looks like he was full of energy.
Oh yeah, the Vegas
from what I saw.
dominated them in the third period. It looked like they literally just flipped a switch. It's like, okay, you're done now, Wild. We'll see if they keep that, because I don't know if they can play a full game with that much energy and that much pressure. But they'll see.
If they do, that's impressive. I will give credit a little bit to the Wild. 3 parts. A, Boldy and Kaprizov have been carrying this team and the goaltending to Fleury and Gustafson. And 2, the overall team defense has.
Oh, Brock Faber really impressed me yesterday. He was like blocking shots. He had a really good breakup with his stick on where Vegas was going to score a goal.
The Wild have hung in there. I'm impressed with them. I don't think they're going to get past 6 games, unfortunately. As somebody
when they went up 2-1, I think everyone was surprised.
Mm-hmm. And I was questioning. I was like, can the Wild pull this off? And Vegas has shut me right the fuck up right away.
Yeah,
they've won the last 2.
But Jack Eichel, not really existing in the first 4 games does make a big difference.
I mean, that's your best player.
Mm-hmm. And he finally showed that he was the best player on both teams yesterday.
And he makes a huge difference, clearly.
Yeah. And Mark Stone finally got a goal too. Like it's big for Vegas for those guys to get going.
Yeah, and if this Vegas team stays like this, they can ride into
I
this
think
finals.
even if they play LA or Edmonton, I think they roll them over in the second round.
Correct. And then if they face whoever comes out of Central, probably Colorado or Dallas,
Vegas is really good.
Yes, they're very good. And real quick before we move on, I've preached this all off season. I've preached this entire season. Whether the Wild win or lose the series, most likely lose. It's still a very successful season. You guys will sign Kaprizov in the offseason. $14 million coming off of the cap are going right to Kaprizov. And, of course, Bill Guerin is doing a phenomenal job. I don't care what the fucking comments say. He's doing a great job in Minnesota.
I mean, that trade for Gus Nyquist was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Trading a second-round pick, and the only thing he's contributed to them in the playoffs is going off sides on the game-winning goal.
I know. We got into an argument when it happened. I'm regretting that. This Nyquist trade was fucking stupid. So.
Yeah, I guess I'd say a second-round pick is still like a pretty premium pick for a rental on a wild card team.
Maybe could have asked for, be like, here's a fourth-round pick, Anyways, Dallas, Colorado. A series which I don't want to say it's been disappointing because it's still been very exciting. But, I mean, the Stars lead the series 3-2. Game 5, Dallas looked like the better team. And, honestly, they got all the bounces compared to Avalanche.
Is Heiskanen not back yet?
He is not back yet.
Robertson
as well.
Yeah, so, I mean, if they get them back, I don't know if there's any word on if they're even be ready to play in this series.
I tried to look for an update this morning, preparing my notes, and I wasn't able to find one since before.
Yeah, because I think if let's say they play tomorrow, I think Dallas just wins the series. But
I don't mean to. I'm not as okay. I need to preface this. I'm not a Stars fan, guys. Okay, I know
he's not a Stars fan. He just has a man crush on Wyatt Johnston.
However, though, Wyatt Johnston had a ridiculous goal from below the goal line to start off Game 5. Anyways, if the Dallas Stars, when they get back Miro Heiskanen and Robertson, don't know if there's a team in the Western Conference that will beat them.
Vegas. I think Vegas. They look when Vegas wants to play like they're scary.
I'll hear that argument. I mean, 7-game series, no matter what. I went right under your chair. Whatever.
I don't think Edmonton has the depth to keep up with them.
Edmonton with Vegas.
Edmonton with Dallas.
Oh yeah, I think there's only one team. I think Dallas will beat Vegas, but if there's one team that can take out Dallas, it is Vegas. I don't.
You will see if the Jets remember how to play hockey.
I mean, yeah, that series is tied 2-2. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I have a big rant to go on about that in a second after this series. The one thing that I have to question about the Colorado Avalanche, McKinnon and Makar showed up. Where is the depth that you went out and acquired this offseason? Where's Nelson? Where's Coyle?
Yeah, Brock Nelson's Charlie Coyle's been contributing off the score sheet. He's been very good for them. Very good forechecker, winning faceoffs. Brock Nelson's been a no-show.
Brock Nelson has been a ghost.
Yeah.
Natchez has been kind of on and off. Like he's in the same boat as Natchez, where not Natchez, of course, fucking Natchez. Natchez is in the same boat as Coyle, where he's contributing off the score sheet a little bit more. Like, Natchez is a great forechecker. He creates play. He's great on the power play. He's great on the top line with Nathan McKinnon. So, of course, you're going to recognize him playing with Nathan McKinnon.
Yeah.
But, like, Blackwood has been great, too. So, you went out and acquired him at the end of November, and he's held them in this series. And there are a couple goals in Game 5 where it's like, I don't even know how that went in, and it's not even Blackwood's fault. Like, the one that went up in the air, and Blackwood's, like, skating back towards the goal line, and it just hits off his back and rolls in.
It's bad luck.
It's like, dude, if you're that Avalanche and Blackwood, you're like, what the fuck, man? Going into Game 6, I do think the Avalanche still have the potential to win Game 6 and Game 7. I don't know, like...
I think they will force a Game 7.
It's not out of the realm of possibilities.
I mean, these teams have been going back and forth. You got to remember, too, in I think Game 3, Colorado kind of kicked Dallas's ass.
They were the better team by far.
They won, I think, like 4-0, right?
It was 4-0.
Yeah, so...
I think the Avalanche just have to get back to just puck possessing and just grinding down the Stars like they did in Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, I think we both agreed from the start. I think the series was always going 7. I'd be kind of shocked if Colorado doesn't win Game 6 tomorrow.
Yeah, this Dallas series does feel a lot like Dallas-Vegas last year, where Colorado went down in the series 2-1 compared to Dallas, where Dallas last season against Vegas, they went down actually 2-0,
2-0, yeah.
lost both games on home ice. But then Dallas was up 3-2 in the series, I think, and then Vegas came back, won Game 6, and then that Game 7 came down to Sam Steele goal a minute into the period, and they won 2-1 or whatever. This kind of feels like that series again.
I mean, yeah, we expected this series to be pretty neck and neck, and I think it has been so far. Outside of a couple games where like Dallas kicked the crap out of Colorado, and Colorado also kicked the crap out of Dallas in one game.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's best of 7 for a reason. I do believe we'll see a Game 7.
This series is everything we've expected, though.
Series, 100%. On the other hand, in the Western Conference, that I'm kind of surprised by is Winnipeg and St. Louis, because there was a lot of concerns going into the series that, is this the same old Jets? Are they going to blow it in round 1 again? Take care of business in Game 1. Take care of business in Game 2. Get blown out in Game 3 and Game 4. Like, just flat out destroyed.
They have Game 5 tonight at 9:30 in a must-win game if you're a Winnipeg.
Yeah, I think if St. Louis wins tonight, I think they win the series.
It's over. Fucking okay.
Especially if Hellebuyck has another bad game.
I'm not going to go that far because Winnipeg still did win the President's Trophy. I'm not going to say that it's over. St. Louis isn't this juggernaut. But,
no, but they kicked their ass twice.
But, okay, I guess there's two circumstances for tonight. By the time you guys are listening or watching,
well, the game have already been played. So, yeah.
If Winnipeg comes out tonight and they still lose, but it's a close game and it's hard checking, tight checking like it has been all series, I think you have optimism if you're Winnipeg. Now, you don't want to lose those type of games because you are the much better team, but it happens, right? If St. Louis comes out tonight on your home ice and kicks the hell out of you like they have in Game 3 and 4.
It's over. It's over, yeah.
That's going to be tough to come back. And playoff Helly is a real thing. I talked about it in our last episode. Playoff Connor Hellebuyck is a real thing. His save percentage from each season.
It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't.
You know what does make sense? Actually, how it makes sense? Playing your goaltender 62 games a season and expecting him to get in.
I don't buy that.
I buy that.
The Lightning did that with Vasilevsky for years, and they went to 3 Stanley Cup Finals, and he was phenomenal in all of those playoff runs. But you know what
the difference is between Vasi and Hellebuyck? Vasi is a much better goaltender, in my opinion.
I mean,
I
disagree. I think they're both very, very good goaltenders. Vasilevsky has been much better in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The regular season, I'd argue Hellebuyck is better.
Yeah, I see that point.
Because Connor Hellebuyck's going to win his 3rd Vezina trophy this year.
And his back-to-back Vezina. Probably going to win it unanimous, or maybe, there'll be a couple votes like we talked about. But Connor Hellebuyck, man, he needs to step up. Scheifele and Connor have done their part so far. You just need Connor
they are
Hellebuyck.
getting Gabe Velarde back tonight, which makes a difference.
Huge boost to every single phase of the game. This dude is a very underrated guy, and he doesn't get much love around the league for what he does for the Winnipeg Jets. And it does feel like Binnington is, of course, outplaying Connor Hellebuyck at the moment. But
I don't think it would be very hard because this Game 3 and 4, Hellebuyck has just not been good.
Had like an 800 save percentage.
I think he had one below an 800. I think he had like 795 or something.
He did. I think that was Game 3 he did. He got pulled in Games 3 and 4, by the way, guys.
Yeah, not a good look. It's one thing to get your ass kicked once, but twice in the same fashion, that scares me.
You look at the Blues, though, and I've compared them to this 2019 team, but I was like, I don't know if they'll
They ain't
make
winning
a
the
run.
cup. They ain't winning the cup.
I'm not saying they're winning the cup, but I'm just saying, like, everyone up and down the lineup is contributing. From Thomas and Kyrie, your top guys, to Jibby Snuggerud, who has 7 or 8 career hockey games, NHL games, coming into the series, and Cam Fowler, who is atop the NHL in points right now.
I mean, that's kind of wild. I mean, stat pad. No, I'm joking.
In games 2 and 3, or it was 3 and 4, or whatever, I think he combined like 8 or 9
I think 4,
points.
he only had 1 point.
Maybe it was game 2 and game 3 then. Either way, though, this Blues team, man, they've impressed me so far.
They got nothing to lose. They're the 2 seed. I mean, 2 months ago, talking about them as a playoff team would be kind of wild. And they go on a 13-game winning streak, make the playoffs, and I got the President's Trophy winners on their toes.
They needed every single win from that winning streak too, which is
because they barely made the playoffs.
Yeah, they scrapped and clawed their way in, and props to them. We'll see what happens with the Blues, though. I'm excited to see, and by the time you guys end up listening or watching us, most likely will be our second round preview, unless this series that we're talking about does go 7, or if Tampa comes back. And
I think the only series I think goes. I think whoever wins Winnipeg St. Louis tonight, I think is going to win the series in 6.
Yeah.
I think Colorado Dallas is going 7.
So it'll be Saturday night.
Yeah. I think Edmonton, Vegas has a chance to go 7.
Edmonton, LA.
Yeah, Edmonton, LA. I think Vegas will close it out in 6. I think Washington's going to win tonight. I think Florida will win tonight.
And Ottawa and Toronto. I
That
think
might
Toronto
go.
wins.
If that goes 7, man. Oh.
That's gonna be. You know what? If that goes 7 Saturday,
I'm not even gonna have fun. I'm gonna have fun watching the meltdown from the Maple Leafs fan, but I am gonna feel a little bit bad for them. But not too. I'm still gonna be laughing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch Steve Dangle do his LFR, and he's gonna like scream again. Still, that's like the best fucking hockey clip ever when he's screaming about the Zamboni driver. How do you lose to a Zamboni driver?
I love that.
Who works for you?
Still never forget David Ayers winning a game against
The Maple Leafs lost to the Zamboni driver that works for the team.
That's funny, dude. Oh my god, that's such a Maple Leafs thing too.
That is like a top 5 funniest hockey moment of all time.
You know what I might do? In the off season, I might say fuck it and just make a video. It's not gonna be like us talking like this. It's gonna be a full visual explaining how the Toronto Maple Leafs lost to a Zamboni driver. Imagine if one of us went out there and just beat the Maple Leafs.
I mean, David Ayers is way better than both of us at goalie. He did play some like high-level hockey. I mean, I know he was a 40-year-old
ECHL or something.
Yeah, I know he was a 40-year-old Zamboni driver, but he still skated. He skated with the Marlies a lot.
He had the moves, you know.
If an NHL player took a slap shot at me right now and I'm full pads, I'm just moving out of the way.
I'm so scared. I don't care.
Tage Thompson winds up full blast in front of you. It was like,
imagine being an NHL goaltender and seeing Tage Thompson or Ovechkin
or
you see anybody else.
Ovi in the office winding up. You're like, you can score, man.
He shoots so hard it goes through the goalies. It doesn't matter where he puts it.
Yeah.
So crazy.
No, but that clip of Steve Dangle is one of the funniest things ever. I still cry laughing every time.
When did that happen? Was that 2019?
2018, I think. Yeah, because that's Steve Dangle was popular with the Leafs fans. That brought him into the stretch because that went viral. Even like non-hockey people watch because he lost his voice. He was screaming hard.
Yeah, when he first started off his media career, he was just Maple Leafs, and then that obviously went viral, and now he does stuff. Obviously, mostly with the Maple Leafs, but also the NHL. Sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, he has his own network now, the Steve Dangle podcast. Now, a cool story. I mean, he is a genuine dude, but he's funny. His reactions are great.
I mean, he's fucking funny.
Yeah.
That's going to end it for today's episode. If you guys enjoy all of our content, all of our socials are down below, as well as the subscribe button. If you guys are listening on Spotify and Apple, head over to our Instagram and YouTube and follow us and subscribe there for more exclusive content. We'll see you guys in our next episode.